At the end of my last video, I said something important. While some countries were debating how to protect their industries, others were investing aggressively in the industries of the future. And the results of those decisions are now shaping the global economy. Let's start with one of the most remarkable economic transformations in modern history, South Korea. In the early 1960s, South Korea was one of the poorest countries in the world. Its economy had been devastated by war. At the time, the country's GDP per capita was comparable to some of the poorest nations on earth. But South Korea made a series of very deliberate decisions. It invested heavily in education. It invested heavily in engineering and science. It invested heavily in industrial development and technology. And those investments didn't produce results overnight, but over time, they compounded. Today, South Korea is one of the most technologically advanced economies in the world. Companies like Samsung, Hyundai, and LG are global leaders in electronics, semiconductors, and manufacturing. And here's the statistic that really puts this transformation into perspective. Since the 1960s, South Korea's economy has grown by more than 30,000%. 30,000%. That kind of growth doesn't happen by accident. It happens because countries invest in human capital, research, and innovation. Japan experienced something similar after the Second World War. By investing heavily in manufacturing systems, quality control, and engineering education, Japan became one of the most advanced industrial economies in the world. South Korea followed a similar path. And in more recent decades, China has also invested enormous resources into infrastructure, manufacturing capacity, and technological development. Now, none of this means these countries are perfect. Every country has its own challenges and political systems. But the broader lesson is clear. Countries that invest heavily in education, science, and industrial innovation tend to see those investments compound over time. They produce more engineers, more researchers, more advanced manufacturing, more technological breakthroughs. And that raises an important question. If national strength isn't just about military power, then what actually determines which countries lead the future? Because when countries invest in their people, in education, healthcare, and scientific research, those investments don't just improve lives, they build the foundation for economic leadership. The most powerful investments a country can make aren't always the most visible ones. They're the ones that quietly compound over decades. So in the final part of this series, we're going to come back to the question that started this whole conversation. What actually makes a nation strong? Because the answer might not be what most people think. Peace out, and if you're not already following me, you should. It's going to be a ride.